Hello and welcome to the Thursday, December 18th, 2025 edition of the SANS Internet Storm Center's Stormcast. My name is Johannes Ulrich, recording today from Jacksonville, Florida. And this episode is brought to you by the SANS.edu bachelor's degree program in applied cybersecurity. The React2Shell vulnerability is the gift that keeps on giving, in the sense that, well, we keep seeing new variations of the exploit. What's happening now is that attackers probably have realized that the original exploits, well, have been run against all available systems. So there is really diminishing returns in scanning the internet yet again with the same exploit. And we do see attackers vary a little bit. So for example, they are changing the URL that they're targeting. We had this one that now looks, for example, for /API and /app and various variations of that, while the initial wave really just looked for the index page, which usually works sort of in these simple, not customized kind of applications. We also see them at the RSC action header, which shows that they're going a little bit away from just looking for Next.js, which, of course, again, was the initial target of a lot of the exploits, but also looking for other reasons why the React server components may be installed and may be reachable. As before, well, if you have still an unpatched, vulnerable system, assume compromise, even if the initial exploits may not have necessarily shown your system as vulnerable. We now definitely see attackers customizing and maybe also understanding the vulnerability a little bit better and how to get. And then we do have a couple of vulnerabilities to talk about that are already being exploited. The first one affects the Cisco Secure Email Gateway and the Cisco Secure Email and Web Manager. This particular vulnerability is actually, I don't think there's a patch available yet, but some configuration guidance. Also, Cisco has observed that there are specific backdoors being planted on exploited systems. So Cisco actually released two articles here. One is sort of their standard security advisory. The second one is a report by their Thales research team that also includes additional indicators of compromise and talks more about the backdoors and their particular capabilities. This particular vulnerability is only exposed if you enable the spam quarantine feature on these appliances, and if you're exposing this feature to the internet, which according to Cisco is not required, and neither of these is a default configuration, even though in an email gateway, I would imagine that a lot of people are enabling some kind of spam quarantine feature. Not sure how enticing it is to expose that to the internet. So definitely check this article or both of these articles if you're using one of these devices. And this is sort of still a developing story, so there may be updates to the advisory by the time you're actually listening to this. And the second already exploited vulnerability that we have a patch now for is for SonicWall's SMA 1000 appliances. This is only a privilege escalation vulnerability. Apparently, it's being used in conjunction with a vulnerability that was patched early this year in order to take over affected devices. One interesting note in the recommendations here is that you should not only limit access to the SSL VPN admin interface for these devices, but also you should limit access to SSH. So don't allow access to SSH via the public internet, but instead put some kind of VPN or other restricted access rules in between the user and the SSH interface on these appliances. That should be implemented regardless of whether you have the patch applied or not. So this is not just sort of as a workaround for this particular vulnerability. And remember, last week, Google released that sort of mystery update for Google Chrome where they stated that there is a vulnerability that's already being exploited, but they didn't really have a ton or really any details about it, including no CVE number. Well, today Google did re-release and update this particular advisory and now states that it's a vulnerability in WebGPU, and they assigned it a CVE number 2025-14765. So we have now a little bit more detail here. Still, the links are broken, and well, there's also a little bit of numbering change here. I'm not really sure what to make out of it. Maybe I'm just a little bit too tired to find the right link here. But either way, it doesn't look like it's any specific new update. But before you shut down your system today, just double check that Google Chrome is up to date, just in case. Well, and that's it for today. So thanks for listening. And just a reminder, I'm teaching this week actually an online class, but it's sort of time zone wise located in Europe. In April, I'll actually be teaching the same class, our intrusion detection class, SEC 503, in Amsterdam. So if you're interested, take a look at it and hope to see some of you there. And that's it for today. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.